Hey guys, welcome back to Delving into the Cold. This is Dee. Today we're going to talk about a Jane Doe case. I will warn you, it involves depiction of child murder, and I know that is hard to hear, and I just want you guys to be warned, so listener discretion is advised. We're going to talk about Delta Dawn. She's also known as Baby Jane, but she's a toddler Jane Doe from Moss Point, Mississippi. She was found December 5th, 1982, and she died around December the 3rd or 4th of that year. She was found close to, and I'm going to mispronounce this river's name. I've grown up in Mississippi. I've lived here my whole life. This river is ridiculous. But I'll try. Escatawpa River. And since she was found so close to there, that's why she's known as Delta Dawn. She was 1 to 2 years old at the time of her death. So let's talk about December the 3rd. Now remember I said that Delta Dawn died somewhere between December the 3rd and December the 4th. Well, on December the 3rd, there were multiple witnesses that reported seeing a young woman walking between Mississippi State Highway 63 and Interstate 10, close to the state line, with a little girl in her arms. The woman was described as being barefoot, wearing blue jeans and a blue plaid shirt, and carrying a coatless toddler in her arms. Remember, this is the dead of winter, and while it doesn't always get very cold here, it's still too cold to be barefoot and have your toddler not have a jacket on. Apparently the woman was really distressed, and she, was literally walking barefoot carrying this toddler, but she refused help from anyone that stopped and offered to help her, and supposedly the truck drivers that witnessed this were just kind of outraged by the fact that, this poor woman was walking alone sometime between midnight to 1 a.m. with a toddler. So let's flash forward to December 5th. Around 7 a.m., a truck driver called the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and reported a female body floating in the river. He reported that she was face down, she was wearing a plaid shirt, and so Jackson County dispatched a deputy. The deputy did not find the adult woman's body, but he did find a blonde toddler. She was laying in the weeds close to the I-10 bridge. It was later determined that the toddler had been thrown from the bridge, and so this catapulted just a huge search of the area. They used helicopters, they, drug the river, all of that, and they never found the adult woman whose body was supposedly seen by the truck driver. The toddler was taken in and had an autopsy performed where they found the child was smothered before being tossed into the river, and unfortunately when she made it into the water, she was still alive. So her cause of death was ultimately drowning. They estimated that she was 18 to 24 months old because of the amount of teeth that had protruded from her gums. She was a Caucasian female with strawberry blonde hair, and unfortunately from being in the water, her eyes had become murky, but they're believed to have been either blue or brown. She would have stood at 2 feet 6 inches tall and weighed about 25 pounds. Now, it should be noted that she was healthy, she was well fed, she wasn't malnourished, there was no signs of abuse. She didn't have food in her stomach when the autopsy was performed, but there was no indication that she had ever been malnourished or that she had ever been neglected or abused in any form. She was wearing a pink and white cradle togs checkered dress with flowers on it and a diaper. No shoes, no coat, nothing of that sort reported. And as I said, they never found the other female's body. They did, like I said, they drug the river, and while another body was found, it's believed to have nothing to do with this case. And so we don't know if the woman that the truck driver saw was this child's mother, or if we just don't know. And if it wasn't this child's mother, then why hasn't the mother come forward to identify her child? The burial of Delta Dawn was primarily paid for by Deputy Virgil Moore and his wife Mary Ann. They took it upon themselves to have a funeral for Delta Dawn, in which I believe 200 people attended. There were 5 deputies that were pallbearers, and I believe on her tombstone it says, "For God only knows," something to that effect. And she's buried in Jackson County Cemetery. Now, the theories seem to be centered around the woman seen walking with a toddler 2 nights before Delta Dawn was found. And it's assumed that that woman was her mother, and she had either killed her, or believed she killed her either accidentally or purposefully, and threw her over the bridge, and then committed suicide herself. And I mean, that's a possibility, and I think that that's a strong possibility. I think that there was certainly something desperate going on in this woman's life, and there has to be for you to kill your own child. After Delta Dawn was found, at the time there wasn't a lot of use of DNA and facial reconstruction and things like that, but she has been exhumed. She has been put into the National Database for Missing and Abused Children. There are a couple of facial reconstructions. She was a gorgeous child. Even the investigators commented that she was just a beautiful little girl. DNA has been taken. Unfortunately, there has still been no match, either to family or to to the victim herself. And the mother has never come forward, and her body has never been recovered. Which is kind of even more tragic, because if she also died, then that's 2 victims who no one has been able to put names to. In my opinion, if the child found in the river was the child seen on the bridge 2 nights before, which I believe that there's a very strong possibility, in fact, a very strong probability that she was. I believe that maybe the mother had been on drugs or was running away from danger, and she wanted to protect her child, and possibly, she's trying to keep the child quiet so they wouldn't be found, or she didn't want her child to be abused in some other way, And the only way that she could think to do that was to take the child's life. And that's horrific. It's tragic. Unfortunately, in the almost 30 years since this case has, happened, it hasn't been solved. It hasn't had any leads. No one's come forward. And I really hope that someday someone will, because this little girl deserves to have a name and to have justice brought to her. That's all I have on this case, guys. It's a bit of a bummer, and I'm sorry. I just felt like her story needed to be told. You can go and you can just type in Delta Dawn Jane Doe or Baby Jane Doe, Moss Point, Mississippi, whichever you want to do, and find a picture of her. And if you recognize her, call the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. You can even tip anonymously, I'm sure. I know that I've been MIA for almost 2 months, and I'd like to apologize. I am an essential worker, so I've been putting in a lot of hours at work, and between that and, personal things that have been going on, I just haven't had the time or the energy to record and research and post, and I'm very sorry. This episode will go up tonight, and I'll try to get a couple of videos up on YouTube for you guys. I can't give you a timeline of when my next case will be, but I will definitely try to get it up very soon. Alright guys, stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.